displaying herself nude to a man, she would only do that for one reason, because she wanted to mate with him. This is not racism. This is simple reality. These are folks much closer to nature, much closer to reality than we are in our concrete cities, where the average, I was going to say average American, I can't say that anyone from North America, Central America, or South America is American. Anyone in the United States, most people don't know where food comes from. You ask the average citizen in the United States, where does food come from? They say the grocery store. They have no idea that food's even grown in the ground. I mean, it's that bad. So these three men came from Africa, came from a very small village somewhere in the middle of nowhere, with roots literally in the earth, where if a woman presents herself to a man nude, then she is expressing her desire to mate with him, and right now. And so when these three African men were presented with foreign women, very obviously presenting themselves for sex, the men raped them. In their own culture, they would have been considered less than men, eunuchs, if they had not mated with a woman who was displaying herself nude. Obviously, she wanted sex. In their own culture, if a woman had presented herself for mating, for sex, and the man refused, what good is a man who doesn't produce children? What good is a man who's not interested in women? You're a burden to the village. They would have been driven out of their own village if they had refused a woman when she presented herself to them. Strangely enough, these men were arrested. They were very puzzled. They were very confused. They couldn't understand what they had done wrong. The woman had presented herself for sex because she was displaying her body to them. And they did what in their culture would have been right and proper. They had sex with her. And the woman, oh, she was forgotten. After all, she was just cattle. And she was just set up by her own government for this very purpose. It doesn't matter to the masters what woman got raped. It didn't matter if she was killed. It didn't matter to the masters if she was damaged for life. The masters got what they wanted. They got a race war. They're working on it. This particular incident has been repeated in many, many Western nations, several times in Sweden, where totally dissimilar cultures are thrown together. Why? Why would any government do this to their own people? Why would any government spend your money to bring in foreigners who so obviously have nothing in common with you? Why would any government subject you and your family to foreigners whose own customs, whose own traditions, and whose lifestyles are so alien to you that you literally have no way of communicating with them? And why, I would ask, would the U.S. government offer free citizenship to any foreigner who was willing to serve in the U.S. Army? Why? Because our masters want civil war. Our masters want a race war. They want army troops from foreign countries in the USA who will not think twice about firing on U.S. citizens. Our masters want chaos, because in chaos there is profit. I got an email the other day from a gentleman in San Francisco. He had actually, for the first time in many years, seen a U.S. soldier up close. And this gentleman actually wrote us and said it was obviously a man from Africa wearing a U.S. Army uniform. He had never seen that before. He was commenting on an earlier episode that we had done. U.S. Army now, U.S. military now, is filled with foreigners. So you ask, okay, race war, civil war, who could profit from the torturing of people? Well, I'm sorry, if you're asking that question, then you've just not been paying attention. When you put completely different people into the same city, and their cultures are so different, the only result will be violence. And your local police and civil authorities are overwhelmed. You will be forced to look for outside help. And that outside help? The New World Order. The USA as the world police, because now it's filled with foreigners from all over the world. It's a U.S. Army today that has no problem putting down riots of U.S. citizens fighting for jobs, for a place to live, for food. Why? Because those same foreigners who are now wearing U.S. Army uniforms remember when the U.S. Army came to their countries and raped and murdered their families, stole their land, raped their sisters, butchered their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents, and all on the orders of some American corporation that was looking to expand their profit. Look up, again, Colonel Smedley Butler. We have to talk about him, U.S. Marines back in the 1930s. He was all over the world, and in his memoirs he talked about expanding American corporate control through violence. It's amazing. So now we get to the part of the story where we ask, how can we stop this? What can we do when worlds collide? Nothing. It's too late to stop any of it. This literally has a life of its own now, and too many people, too many of the cattle have been led down this path and cannot change course. They've been convinced that we all, if a few human beings who live out in Ottumwa, Iowa, the Virgin in Africa, are suffering, then we all must suffer at the same time. No, it's not true, of course. But so many people have been convinced of this, that there's no way of changing course. It's too late. All we can do, you and I, is to run. And you know where I'm running to the village, where we will wait as long as we can. We will be a for-profit organization. We will be selling above organic foods. We will be a tourist attraction, an ecotourism resort. We'll give you ski lessons. We'll take you out on horseback rides through the forest until it's time to close our doors. And then, frankly, we'll just be too busy to miss you. So please, no matter what, please have some sort of plan for yourself. Anything. Just please don't give up. Please try. For all of us here at the 2012fad.com, this is Charlie Bluehawk, wishing you a really good day. And reminding you, please keep that one good thought. The 2012 Fad is brought to you by Coffee and Blood, Love Letters Between the Dead, a series of 5 erotica horror novels about a fallen angel fighting his way back to regain his own soul, and how the CIA war against the human race, their black magic, captures and traps him in the body of a mind-controlled slave designed to hunt down